This now to some more aspects as well coming in of this crucial meeting and of this very significant partnership that India has with France. Prime Minister Modi's visit to France is, of course, expected to significantly strengthen India-France defense ties as well. France has agreed to bring the advanced Rafale F5 capabilities to future Indian Rafales, including AI-assisted decision support, enhanced satellite connectivity, faster battlefield data sharing, and improved coordination with drones and other military platforms. These upgrades are aimed at giving Indian pilots a decisive edge in future warfare. The visit is also expected to fast-track the 36,000 crore deal for 3 additional Kalvari-class Scorpene submarines, which will be built in India with substantial indigenous content. Now, India's submarine fleet is aging and security challenges are growing in the Indian Ocean. The discussions on submarines, Rafale fighters and future combat technologies could shape India's military capabilities for years to come. Let's in fact take a look at where India-France defense ties stand at currently and what all now is going to be on the table when the two leaders meet today. So to just give our viewers now a timeline of Indo-French defense ties, well, let's begin from the top. Let's go to the first slide, please, if we can, and tell our viewers about, of course, how it started in the 1980s. So in the 1980s, of course, we had the Mirage 2000 jets, which were purchased by India from France. These were those jets in the 80s. Then 1998, of course, did see a strategic partnership launched. Of course, 1998 did not have Modi and Macron, but we're just giving you a context, of course. 98 was when the strategic partnership was launched. It was the first with a Western country, of course, in that level, in that aspect. 2005 is when the Scorpene P-75 submarine deal was first signed for the first procurement. That happened in 2005. 2016 is, of course, when 36 Rafale fighter jets contract was signed. 2016 is when we, of course, inked that agreement for the first time. Worked very, very well because we saw in 2022 all 36 Rafale aircrafts delivered. They've held our Air Force in steady ground. And now we, of course, have also placed another order. Jan 2025 is when the 6th Scorpene submarine was commissioned as well. Again, a significant day in Indo-French partnership. April 2025 is when we stepped up the order for more Rafale jets as well. 26 Rafale M deal was signed for the Indian Navy. That happened in April of last year. In February 2026, when the two leaders met, it was our 10-year defense pact which was renewed, which was pledged, and which was taken to a whole new level. Now, according to reports, what's going to be on the table today as far as the defense aspect is concerned in the bilateral meeting? Well, Scorpene submarines. Yes, 3 more Kalvari class Scorpene submarines are to be built in India with 60% indigenous content and AIP system as well. That's a big boost, of course, for Make in India. That's also a big aspect, shows how much France trusts India as well. Rafale fighter jets, again a massive push expected today for 114 Rafale jet deal worth 3.25 lakh crore rupees, with a majority, of course, that will be eventually made in India. 6th Gen fighter joint development program exploration after Europe's FCAS collapse. That's also something which will be discussed and spoken about today in this meeting. These are some more visuals, of course, coming in. That exhibition, of course, there carries on. The Bharat Innovates, and of course, a lot of companies displaying their products there, their new ideas there, and all of that being decoded, explained to the dignitaries there. You can see Prime Minister Modi of India, President Macron of France. They're meeting with Indian entrepreneurs, they're meeting with French entrepreneurs, and they're discussing ideas. They're innovating, and we certainly hope that this is going to take ties to a whole new level. Major General A.K. Sivach, defense expert, live with us on the broadcast. Major General Sivach, this, of course, is a very significant partnership. It's a partnership that has a whole new dimension that is going to be taken to a whole new level. Of course, today it's a 360-degree, discussion that is expected today in the bilateral, from security to economic ties to ties in AI, education, innovation, entrepreneurship. But let's focus on defense for a second, Major General Sivach, because you are an expert in that field. Major General Sivach, as far as defense ties go, what are you watching out for today?
Very correct. See, Uday, first of all, very rightly you have brought it out. It is not only defense, we will be also talking about artificial intelligence, semiconductor, quantum computing, space innovation, cyber warfare. But what stands out is the defense deal, which is going to be signed. In fact, the defense cooperation is growing every year. Now we have initially taken 36 Rafale, which are already now in service in India. These are the two squadron, one is in the western sector and another in the eastern sector. And now we are going to ask for 114 Rafale more, which is about 6 to 7 squadron. And the biggest takeoff in this case is that almost majority of them will be produced in India, with 40 to 50% will be the indigenous component. That's very important. And the missile which are used, the Scalp missile, Hammer and Meteor, these missiles will be also joint production by India and France. Now, this sort of, that understanding and cooperation coordination, no other country has as much as India and France, which we have. And you will find it that we will grow from strength to strength. See, the Rafale has now become the mainstay of Indian Air Force, because our other aircrafts are aging it out. We need about 42.5 squadron. We are left with about 28 squadron, and we need a Rafale at the earliest. And I think since we already have 2 squadron Rafale, and which has proved its might, and especially during Operation Sindoor, we are now going for 114 Rafale, and which will be also given in a time-bound manner, and which will be a majority of them produced in India with 50% of indigenization. And not only that, another 26 Rafale M, which we are going to do now, already given an order for getting for INS Vikramaditya and INS Vikrant, which again is going to be game changer. So the cooperation and coordination between India and France is of a great value. Both are now having faith on each other. There is a transfer of technology, co-development and joint production. At the same time, when you talk about the submarine, which is again a very important thing, P-75, which was signed between India and France. Now 3 more Scorpene type missiles, submarines, will be also produced in India itself. What is the focus between India and France now is co-development, joint production, transfer of technology, make in India, and with indigenous component 50% and more. Now that is a mantra which is going to take place in future, and that's why India and France friendship is growing from pillar to post. Now, another thing which is very important is that we are going to make AMCA, that is Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft. Basically, we have already drawn a roadmap for it. Say another 10 years, it will roll out. And we will be manufacturing within India. There are a number of private players which have been already earmarked. But the problem which is there is basically of engine. And one must know there are only 5 countries, 4 to 5 countries which have their engine of their own, whether it is US, Russia, France, UK, and not even China makes jet engine. China basically does reverse engineering of the Russian engine. So for AMCA also we are trying to co-develop engine with France, possibly Saffron or some other engine. Now that is again going to happen, and this will be again co-development and joint production. So overall, if you see, Uday, that from the beginning which we have made about Mirar 2000 and Jagur, now the way we have come up, we are now joint producing Rafale and also Scorpene type of submarine. It shows that both countries have faith and confidence, and also that we are ready to do the innovation in this coming year, with a full might, which will have a tremendous impact in the whole world, and especially about quantum computing and artificial intelligence.
Right. Let me, in fact, quickly also rope in now Ambassador S.T. Muni, former diplomat, who also joins us live. Ambassador Muni, security and defense forms a big part of India-France ties. Talking about the cooperation expected on security and defense, what are the outcomes you are expecting from today's meeting, sir? And where do you see, why do you see so much convergence in these two areas in particular between the two nations?
Look, I think the defense aspect has been explained by the general very well, and I cannot dwell more on that. In any case, I'm not a defense expert. But what is happening is a gradual consolidation of relationship between India and France. And if I go back to history, this started as early as 1954, when both the US and UK were very reluctant to help India because of non-alignment and whatnot. Now is a time when we find that the dependability of many of our other strategic partners, and I would say including the US, is being debated in both the countries, particularly in India very intensely. France has always stood by us. And beyond defense the trade and technology aspects, which the general touched upon, are equally important. We are facing a lot of trade problems from the US. And for the last 2 years, I think India has decided to diversify its trade relations not only with European countries, but all other countries as far as possible, as much as possible. And there we find that France has been relatively far more dependable as a friend, as a partner in terms of economic and defense relationship. Therefore, I see this as a in a more comprehensive manner, where defense is a vital aspect because we are emphasizing on security. But more than that, we are also emphasizing on trade. And we are also
just stay with us for a second. I think these are live pictures coming in. I want to quickly address them. These are live visuals coming in. That bilateral meeting now is beginning between India and France. The key bilateral meeting, which of course is preceding the G7 summit, is now starting. Prime Minister Modi, of course, in Nice. The two leaders have attended the Bharat Innovates event, and now the business aspect of the visit also commences with this key bilateral meeting. You can see there on your screens that the French President Emmanuel Macron is of course accompanied by top officials of France, Prime Minister Modi of India accompanied by top officials of India. The bilateral meeting all set to begin now in Nice between Prime Minister Modi and President France. So key bilateral meeting now, Ambassador S.T. Muni, begins. What do you believe is going to be top of the table in this key meeting and dialogue?
No, if you're coming back to me, this is the only point I have been emphasizing, that I see this more as a comprehensive relationship. We must emphasize defense aspect, there is no doubt, but don't ever forget the other dimensions of our relationship. And with that, the whole concept of Indian Ocean, besides the US, the only other partner which we have in various other countries of the Indo-Pacific region is France, and therefore this is a comprehensive consolidation of our bilateral relationship. That's all I must say. I can't say what actually our two leaders would be talking and what more details would come through it.
We are learning of several key MOUs as well, in fact 12 in number, which are expected to be signed today, Ambassador S.D. Muni. Which MOUs do you believe will be most crucial? Which are you keeping a close eye on?
Well, I am keeping close eye on trade, technology, and defense has already been mentioned.
Major General Sivac, how important is it to fast track the Rafale procurement for India? And also, Major General Sivac, let's just talk about those Scorpene submarines for a second as well. What has made them such an asset for our Navy? How important is it to procure these fresh ones as well for India? We're also learning that those submarines as well eventually are going to be made in India, particularly almost 60 to 70% of them.
Very well said, Uday. No denying the fact. The first and foremost thing is that we have been always telling to other country, and especially France had always accepted co-development and joint production and make in India. And that's what this, even this Scorpene missile, Scorpene submarine, which have been now added, and again another six which we going to take it, they will be produced in India itself, and almost about 50 to 60% its component will be make indigenous. That's a very important thing. Now, when we talk about the submarine, why it is important, remember that as far as Indian Ocean region is concerned, you know that as to how China is becoming very aggressive, not only in Indo-Pacific, also in Indian Ocean, because you find 7 to 8 submarines are always lurking here, and they are carrying out a lot of surveillance. And that's why, if you remember Andaman Nicobar, when we are going to have a great Nicobar project, I can say in that there aaye durust aaye. So, but as far as the submarines are concerned, no one else was even ready to give you the latest technology. The France is a dependent partner, and that's how we are now making this submarine together, and with the Indian, you can say component more than the France. And now when issue comes in, how many more submarines we require? Now there is always a discussion between aircraft carrier and the submarine and nuclear power submarine, which is the next step which we are going to go. Is that we have got 2 aircraft carrier. Should we go for a third aircraft carrier, or must have a more submarine and including a naval, basically a nuclear power submarine? So this is a very thin line between both of them, that ideally you should have both the third aircraft carrier and nuclear power submarine and this Scorpion type of submarine, but the resources are always at the stake, and therefore we have to select out of that. But don't deny the fact, as far as submarines are concerned, they play a very important role in Indian Ocean region, and especially the way the Chinese have become very aggressive. Now the question comes is that as far as France is concerned, they have also a lot of at stake in Indo-Pacific. They have almost number of islands which are under France in this, and therefore they will also like to keep an eye, and that's why they want to cooperate with India, and knowing fully well the way the Quad was formed to ensure the free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific with the freedom of navigation, route-based international order, and maintaining territorial integrity and sovereignty of all nations. Now that stands with the Indian Ocean region also, and therefore the point is the more coordination and cooperation with France will play a tremendous role, where we will co-develop and joint production. It is not only Rafale, it is also submarine, and you will find it. We are also working cyber warfare, space warfare, quantum computing, which is there, then semiconductor chips. So the trade which between India and France is about $15 billion. There is a requirement to increase manifold, and I think there is a lot of scope. Startups are there. So in time to come, you'll find that both sides are working very hard to ensure that, one, that our trade increase, second thing, our cooperation, coordination increase, and both these countries have true friendship. And remember in 1998, when majority of the countries after India has carried out a nuclear sort of program, that is the time when no one gave us newer technology. It is the France which came forward. I think India-France relationship is a relationship which is there to watch it, and it will grow from strength to strength in time to come.